Hello, everyone. I'm popping in a little bit early because I hate being late. It's one of my pet peeves. I hate being late. So I saw that a lot of you were here. So I wanted to come in and say hello. And here we go. It's an exciting day. It's an exciting day for a lot of reasons. We did it, you guys. We hit 10,000 last night. So it's really, really exciting. Thank you all so much for your support. You have no idea how much it means to me. When I woke up this morning, I saw the news immediately that the Kevin Costner divorce had settled. And my sister, who lives in LA, and I are, always talking about the latest cases and the celebrity gossip. And in fact, when the whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial was going on, she said to me, "You got to go on YouTube. You got to go on YouTube and talk about that case because there's so many lawyers on YouTube talking about it." And I thought, why? I don't even know how to do that. I wouldn't even know where to start with that. So I didn't. But then I remembered that one of my buddies from acting class, Bill Cannon, police off the cuff, had a YouTube show. And happy accident, I had been doing some stuff on the Murdoch case all the way back in, I think it was March. And I was talking to Bill and I said, "Bill, check out what I did on Instagram. I did a little, somebody told me that I should just do a little blurb about Murdoch. And I was just talking about my opinions on Murdoch. And he invited me on his show. And that's where it started in March. So, yes, Scott, I'm early. I know. Can you believe it? I'm going to wait a couple of minutes and just chit chat with the peeps because some people may have been, thinking I'm coming at 5:15, but come for the content, stay for the chit chat. This is an amazing community that we're building here, and I love you guys so much. And I love that we're interactive and that the chat is really friendly. So if you're new here today, feel free to say hello, introduce yourself in the chat. Everyone will really be happy to see you, happy to talk to you. We like to keep it classy in the chat, and I have the best moderators on YouTube who will police things for me, if you will. So I started out on Police Off the Cuff, and then I met Duty Ron, and then he started asking me to come and guest host with him and co-host with him because Ed was away for a while. So we hit it off, and then I did a bunch of podcasts with those guys, Police Off the Cuff and Duty Ron. I didn't even start posting my own content until June 26th of this year was my first video, and I had 27 subscribers, and 5 of them were my children. And the first video that I ever did was something I taped and just put up. It was not a live stream, and it was on the Kevin Costner divorce. And I thought, well, I'm kind of interested in this. So maybe other people will be interested in this too. And until yesterday, that first video that I did was my highest viewed video. So my sister and I spoke this morning, like we do every day, and she said, "Oh, wow, Kevin Costner's divorce settled. That's going to really not be great for your channel." And I said, "No, that's amazing for my channel because it's so perfect." I started with Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner said, "If you build it, they will come." You came, you stayed, you hung around. You like it here. We like it here. It's perfect. I'm so happy that he settled his divorce today. So, Ed, already in there with the super chat. Thanks, Ed, for the $9.99 super chat. Can't get it. 10,000 subs. You're killing it. What have you doing this for 5 minutes? I don't know. What time is it? Yeah, 6:26. I posted my first video. But listen, you guys are the best, and you're watching and you're replaying and you're sharing. And I couldn't do this without you guys. Without an audience, I have nothing. Clara Bella, thank you so much for the $4.99 super sticker. In fact, I starred one of your comments while I was sitting getting ready, and you said, "Yay, I made a live." And I was going to say, "Yay, you're here. Amazing. Thank you. Fairy Meadows, new to you and your channel. See you whenever you're able to get here. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lynn. Oh, thank you, Lynn, for the super sticker. I appreciate you. I appreciate you all so much. And to my moderators who are the best on YouTube, they keep everything classy. Special shout out to Miss Donna Marie, the queen of moderators. She moderates my comments. She moderates the chat. She gives me great ideas. She shares my stuff. She's amazing. To Rochella and Peter Pranzo, the super mod couple who did the video for me when the James Burke story broke and they were in their car and they went to Bald Hill, the Veterans Memorial, and took live video, which is the place where James Burke was arrested. To Wendy Kraft, Princess Mish, Scott, retired Irish detective, and my newest moderator, Team Brittany, who really got a workout last night because we had so many people in the chat. I think we're up to like 2,000 people at one point. This is going to be a lot more intimate today, which is great because we can really dive into this and talk about it together. Thank you, Di, for your super sticker. I appreciate you so much. Oh, and Galen, thank you, Galen, for the super sticker, 1999. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are amazing. So supportive. Such a supportive community. I see you, I hear you, and I'm here for you. So while I will, I keep files on all of my cases that I cover. Today, the Costner file is going to be retired, hopefully. But, I'm really happy about it. I'm really, 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 really happy. So let's just take a look, shall we? Tell me, most of you, I think, are familiar with the Costner divorce and the Costner case and the drama that's been going on. Yes, I'm going to have memberships. I was waiting to hit 10,000 and I didn't think it was going to happen last night. And so I'm furiously trying to put it together, and, you got to make these emojis, and I'm looking at merch and thinking about what perks people want. So if you have any ideas for perks, put them in the chat or in the comments, because some of you are members at a lot of different channels, and what perks are important to you? What do you like to have? Do you like the once a month or once every 6 week kind of private conversations? Ask me anything, something like that. Scott, Kevin is innocent. Oops. Yes. Look, we need a lighter topic tonight, because if I spend one more night with Ruby, Frankie, and Jody Hildebrandt in my brain, I think my brain might explode. So this is a case where nobody's being hurt physically, let's say. Nobody's being abused. Nobody's being tied up or tortured or locked in a basement or dismembered. We're going to just roll through this tonight. It's not going to be a long one, but I started with this case. I did a couple lives since then on this case, and we're going to finish this case tonight. It's just really, really kismet. It's a perfect ending. So Kevin Costner posted this on Instagram this morning. Let's just take a moment to admire this. Okay, listen, I said this on the first live stream, and I'm not ashamed to say it again. He had me at Tin Cup. He did. He had me at Tin Cup. And his post says, "Happy Monday, friends. I can't read the first part of that. I wish health and happiness for all of you." And this was posted, I think it was posted yesterday, 23 hours ago. So it was posted yesterday. I imagine that they signed their settlement agreement yesterday, and they can finally stop being in the tabloids and start moving forward with their lives. Oh, hey, Maureen. I apologize. I do apologize for calling you Melissa. My first time, you didn't call me out. Melissa, Maureen, now I'm calling you Melissa. Maureen, I have been called far worse than Melissa. Far worse. Stick around at the end, because I'm going to share some comments with you guys that I've hidden and, would just like to show you, because you can't believe some of the nonsense that goes on behind the scenes. Patroness Glow, thank you so much for your $9.99. Congratulations on 10K and for growing so quickly. Yay. I know you're one of the OGs. So many of you have been OGs and have been around since the very, very beginning. And I thank you with all of my heart. My kids actually got me a cake. They got me a rainbow cookie cake because I love rainbow cookies, and it says 10K on the top of it. So we are having a rainbow cake for dinner tonight. Don't hate me. And don't report me to whatever they call it, child services, because we're having cake for dinner because that's what we do. That's how we roll. Okay, so just to rewind a little bit, you may recall that on May 1st, Christine Baumgardner, who is the soon-to-be ex-wife of Kevin Costner, filed for divorce. It was just May 1st of this year. And according to sources and reports, and Kevin Costner himself in his own court papers, because I do have access to the court file, and I've read a lot of the court documents. I have not published them because I don't think that it's my business to do so. But in California, just a little FYI, divorce records are public. So while you cannot access them online, you can order them and pay for them. They will email them to you, or you can go down to the courthouse and get them and pay for them there. Their divorce is pending in Santa Barbara, California, because they live in Carpinteria, which is right outside of Montecito, and that is the closest court to where they live. And that's where you bring the divorce action, is in the county of your marital residence. It is a beautiful, beautiful place, and they have an oceanfront compound that is really stunning, that he bought before the marriage, by the way. So she files for divorce on May 1st. Kevin Costner had been divorced already. So he had a very long-term marriage with a woman by the name of Cindy Silva. I think they were married sometime around 1978. They were divorced in 1996. Their divorce was finalized, and he paid her $80 million in that divorce. They had 3 children together. Oh, Duty Ron, are you driving? Thank you so much for the $50 contribution to the college fund. Congratulations to Attorney Melanie Little for hitting 10,000. Much more to come. Yay! Thank you for inspiring me. Thank you for inspiring me to go live that first time. And I was like, what do you mean I'm going to go live? Nobody's going to show up. I thought it was going to be, just me and my mom, maybe some of my kids, my sister, but Duty Ron sent everybody over from his channel. And a lot of you are still here today. So thank you. Thank you for that. It's okay. All right. So Kevin Costner in his first divorce paid $80 million. He had 30 kids. He did not have a prenup because when they first got married, he was kind of not a famous guy. So the other thing that happened to him when he got divorced for the first time is that he was rendered without a home because his ex-wife got the marital home. He really had nowhere to go. He felt displaced. He thought to himself, that's never going to happen to me again. So after he had his 3 kids with Cindy Silva, he then had another child in 1996 with Bridget Rooney, who is the granddaughter of Pittsburgh Steelers owner Art Rooney. And I think she's the niece of Dan Rooney. So she was, came from a very, wealthy background. She is now married to a billionaire. So good for Bridget Rooney. But, by this time, Kevin already had 4 kids. He had already been divorced once. And he gets into this relationship with Christine Baumgardner, who was, I think, kind of a model. I think she had like a handbag company. He called them failed businesses in one of his court filings. So they met sometime back in like I gotta go back to all my old notes now, you guys. 1998 is when they started dating. She was a handbag designer and entrepreneur. I do not think she went to college. So that was part of her argument in this case, is that she was not going to be able to support herself because she didn't have a college degree. But be that as it may, no judgment. In 2004, they had broken up for a period of time because Kevin was on the fence about having kids. He said, look, I know you're 20 years younger than I am, but I have a lot of kids and I am supporting a lot of kids. And I'm kind of like, maybe done with that, right? I don't want to say his kids were a mistake in any way, shape, or form. What I want to say is he made it very clear to Christine that he did not want to have more kids. They broke up for a period of time. I guess they worked that out because when they got back together, they then became engaged to be married. And prior to the marriage, in September of 2004, they were married, but a couple of weeks prior to that, they had worked out and ironed out a premarital agreement, or a PMA. We also call it a prenup here in New York, or a prenuptial agreement. And in my opinion, and I've said this in prior videos, I thought that the PMA should stand, that it was valid, despite the fact that it was signed almost 20 years ago, despite the fact that they went on to have 3 children who are now 16, 14, 13. Despite all of those things, that maybe he was making more money now, it's disputed about how much money he was making, that, you know me, if you've watched my channel before. If you haven't, I will tell you that I am a believer in the law. I'm a believer in the law being followed. I'm a constitutionalist. I believe that the Constitution should be followed. So depending on the case that we're talking about, sometimes I may lean towards the defense. Sometimes I may lean towards the prosecution. Sometimes I may lean towards the husband or the wife. But it's going to depend on the case. And I really, really believe that contracts should be enforced, because if contracts are not enforced, like premarital agreements or prenups, then what's the point of even having them, right? So it's been my position from the very beginning of talking about this case that this prenup should be enforced. And I got a lot of heat for it, because a lot of women, especially women, and only women, I want to say, came into my comments, and I say it, come for me in the comments. I love respectful debate. Just be respectful. No cursey words, no foul language. Do not attack me, my guests, my mods, each other. People were coming for me saying, like, how dare you not side with the wife? She's, didn't work all these years and she raised the children. And, my answer to that is like, okay, I don't really know that she exactly raised the children. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of help. And just because she is unemployed does not make her unemployable. She's 49 years old. She could get a job. And the contract is the contract. The deal is the deal. And listen, at any point during the course of the marriage, if you don't like the prenup and your circumstances change, you can always go back to your attorneys and have them draft what is called a postnup. And you can have the agreement changed because of the circumstances. And you could enter into a new agreement called a postnup. So that'd be that. Also, in a prenup, you are not allowed to make any provisions regarding child support. Child support is statutory. It is a calculation. You cannot waive or diminish or modify or even talk about any sort of child support in your premarital agreement. So the only things, and we have not been able to get a hold of the premarital agreement. It is under seal with the court, even though the records are public. That part has been sealed, and I'm glad it's sealed, because that's the last thing that those kids need or the family needs, is have that in public. But what we've been able to glean from the court record and from the depositions and the hearings that have been had during the course of this case, which really has only been going on since May. So it's been settled within 120 days, a little over 120 days, which, yeah, somebody has said before, like, why is this a record? And for celebrity divorce, it might be. It's very fast, but I've said since the beginning that I think this thing should be settled. I think it should be settled quickly, and I think that it should be kept out of the public eye and the tabloids, and like, it's not good for anybody, especially the children. And if you want to talk about what's in the best interest of the children, keep your stuff quiet. They don't need to hear about this. Every time they Google their parents, it's going to come up forever and ever and ever, because you can't scrub the internet, as we know. So we do know that they were married in September of 2004 at a beautiful wedding at his compound in Aspen. And in the premarital agreement, it said that all of the properties that were coming into the marriage that Kevin already owned at that time were going to remain his sole exclusive property. Aspen, the house in Carpinteria, and there may have been one other house. So it also said that if she ever files for divorce, or either of them really ever file for divorce, that she would be required to vacate the marital home if it was one of these delineated properties within 30 days. So she knew when she filed for divorce that this 30-day move-out clause was going to be triggered. She didn't like that. So she contested it. There was also a clause in the prenup that said anybody who contests this prenup and loses is required to pay the attorney's fees of the other party. And that is a standard clause. It's in a lot of contracts. If you sign contracts on the regular, you'll know that. And not just, prenups. It's in a lot of contracts that if you contest the validity of the contract and you lose, you have to pay the attorney's fees for the other side. It's common. It also said that he would give her, now I really have to find my notes. So I think he gave her $500,000 at the beginning of the marriage that was put into a separate bank account for her. And then upon the divorce, if anybody filed for divorce, he would pay her another $1 million. It also said that during the course of the marriage, any income that he earned would be his sole income. Because anybody who ever has been through a divorce, and I know there's a lot of us in here, knows that unless you have this in your prenup, the money that is made during the course of the marriage is marital money and marital assets. And here in New York, the day that you file for divorce, that's when that stops the clock on shared income. So that's why a lot of attorneys will tell you when you go for a consult, you need to file. The day you file is the day your income becomes your income again. So, not only do we discuss the tea here, but we also talk about the law, and I try and help you understand it in a way that hopefully you can understand it. If you don't understand it, you can always just put some questions in the chat. So she files for divorce on May 1st. He's away filming in Utah because he's making a 3-movie series called Horizon that he's pumped a lot of his own money into. She files on May 1st. He doesn't even know she files. April 11th, she had said she wanted a divorce. He kind of thought they were working it out. He goes back to filming. She files the divorce papers. He comes back for their oldest son's birthday, and I got on her about this too, and a lot of people thought it was mean of me, but I don't care. I'm going to say it again. He comes back for the son's birthday, which is like May 5th or 6th. I mean, the son is turning 16. And my theory was that she filed it then so that she could have him served with the papers because he'd be back in California for the son's 16th birthday, which I thought was kind of gross. But, people got on me for that. But I'm still going to say it. Let the kid have one more nice birthday. And then, maybe just like kick your own beef a little bit further down the road. I don't know. Just my own personal opinion, but I'm sticking to it. So he's blindsided by this filing. And she had also charged $95,000 on his credit card before she filed that he didn't know about to pay her attorneys. So that was another kind of not such a nice thing to do. There's reports that she also went out and bought herself a car, which was unusual because she usually would lease cars. So there was some planning. This was a little bit, we talk about premeditation and a lot of the true crime. I can't speak today. The true crime cases that we cover. This was premeditated. She was planning it. I think she also bought her mom some stuff. I mean, there was some stuff in here that was not like so cool that she did. So all that said, they went to a hearing. We covered all of this. They went to a hearing and they wanted to decide pendente lite child support, which is temporary child support that is paid during the pendency of the dissolution action. And first they had a move-out hearing to determine whether or not the move-out clause in the prenup was going to be upheld. And Judge Anderley in the Santa Barbara Superior Court said yes. So on July 5th, they went in for that hearing. Technically, Kevin wanted her out of there since she filed May 1st. He wanted her out of there end of May. And the lawyers were going back and forth and back and forth. His lawyer is Laura Wasser, who you may have heard of. She's a very famous celebrity attorney. They call her the Disso Queen, as in dissolution of marriage. She has represented a lot of famous people in their divorces. And letters go back and forth. Anyone who's ever had the displeasure of having to pay an attorney by the hour knows that attorneys bill on the 10th of the hour. So every 6 minutes, you're getting a bill. If they send you a text, 6 minutes. If they send you an email, who knows how long it could be. And then everybody who is also working for them, it also bills. So if the associate does something, they bill at a lower rate. But let's just say for round numbers, your attorney bills out at $600 an hour. Say they bill out at $1,000 an hour. Say $1,000 an hour. Every 6 minutes, you're paying $100. So if they send you a text, it's $100. See how that works? Nobody likes getting that bill at the end of the month. So needless to say, the attorney's fees in this case were mounting steadily. And in the beginning of the case, because they had to have a hearing on this move out clause, they had a hearing on July 5th. Christine wanted to stay till August 31st. Kevin wanted her out by the 15th. The judge said she had to move out by July 31st, which she eventually did. In the beginning, with the $95,000 that she put on Kevin's credit cards, she hired a forensic accountant that didn't even cover the fee of the forensic accountant. They got into his QuickBooks. They got some information from his accountant, who later said, no, I'm firing you as my client. Kevin's my client. And they worked up all of these numbers. And she went into court and in her papers asked for, I have to take a breath before I even say this. She wanted $248,000 a month in child support per month. $248,000 a month in child support based on these calculations that her attorneys and forensic accountants came up with. Now, most of us, I think, may agree that that's hella lot of money, especially since they had agreed on 50-50 custody, that the kids would be with Kevin half the time and the kids would be with Christine half the time. So for halftime, she was asking for $248,000 a month. Under the calculations, like I told you, every state has a calculator. So if you want to know what your child support obligation would be or how much your spouse would have to pay you in child support, you can go onto your state website and run the numbers. New York has a cap. And so in New York, only the first, I think it's $161,000, around $160,000 of combined income is factored into child support. You can make applications for additional amounts above the guidelines if your lifestyle is such that you think you're entitled to it. California has no cap. So all of the income could be considered, but even based on those numbers, assuming they were true, his statutory obligation was somewhere in the low $100,000 range. My calculations came up with $150,000 a month. Still, hella lot of money. In addition to him paying 100% of health insurance, extracurricular activities, private school tuition, all of those other things. The PMA also did not allow for her to receive any spousal support or maintenance or what used to be called alimony. So, my thought in the beginning was, all right, she's trying to disguise the child support as alimony. And that's why she's asking for a crazy amount. And also important to note is that child support is non-taxable to the recipient. So in the tax bracket that they were in, someone in her position who would receive $250,000 a month, let's just say to round it up, would have to make $500,000 a month before taxes to net $250,000 a month, right? So I think as we look at the numbers, we can see how kind of crazy that is, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion. And I've said since the beginning of this case, and I'm going to say it again, and I don't give legal advice on this channel, but I'm going to say this. And I would say this to my clients for the exactly 10 minutes that I handled divorce cases. Do you want a judge who doesn't know you and doesn't know your family, who makes, in this case, far less money than you do or your family does, and spends far less money and has a much more reasonable style of living than you do? Do you want that judge deciding your family's financial future? Probably not. If you can put all of your acrimony aside for a minute, a settlement is always in the best interest of everyone, because just like going to a jury trial, it's a crapshoot. Anytime you go in front of a judge, it's a crapshoot. So that was my advice to the parties. I'm glad they finally listened to me. I hope that they did listen to my podcasts and then they decided that that's what they should do. But I digress. So for the pendente lite motion for temporary child support on July 12th, the temporary child support was set at $129,755. Yes, you heard me correctly. That's what he was ordered to pay during the pendency of the action. You may also recall, right after this hearing was held, she didn't like that number. She didn't think it was enough. Christine was found, or seen, I should say, gallivanting on the beach in Hawaii at the Four Seasons with one of Kevin's besties, a billionaire by the name of Josh Connor. And the pictures came out on TMZ. While we're here, let's just take a look at the pictures. So she is seen on the beach with Josh Connor, with her kids and with his kids. And it came out later during discovery that he loaned her at one point during the pendency of this action $20,000. So Kevin thought perhaps this was her boyfriend. She said, no, we're just friends. We've been friends for years and years. But I'm looking at this and saying, why is she gallivanting on the beach at the Four Seasons in Hawaii with one of Kevin's besties so soon in time from filing for divorce? I mean, it's kind of not so great. I don't know. Just not a good look. My opinion again, my opinion. I don't know if they were actually boyfriend and girlfriend, if they're actually dating now. He's a billionaire. If she is, then okay, good for her. They've denied a romantic relationship, but this was just a little too close in time for me, because she had to know that she's being followed by paparazzi. She had to know that this was going to get out there. This was by July 21st. That hearing had been on July 12th. So at some point, he gave her 2 envelopes of cash, $10,000 each, because I guess she said that she needed a little money. Guy came through. Sounds like a nice guy. In any event, I digress again. So papers are filed, more papers are filed, the papers are flying, the motions are flying. Christine's not happy with the $129,000 a month that she's getting. And she tells the court that she wants the court to now reconsider the amount of child support, because remember, she asked for $248,000 a month. The court's given her $129,755 a month. In the meanwhile, she files a motion saying, I need an upward modification. Judge, this is not enough money. I need enough money to make sure that my kids enjoy the same lifestyle with me as they will when they're with Kevin, because by the way, we take private planes everywhere. We go to Aspen all the time. We have a house there. My kids need to, obviously live this standard of living when they're also with me. Otherwise, they're not going to want to be with me. They're going to want to be with him. She also says that she's learned a lot more of his financial situation and that therefore she's entitled to more money. Well, judge didn't really like that so much. She said $129,000 a month just really isn't going to cut it. And she then asked for $175,000 a month. By the way, she says that's still not enough, but I can make do. I can make do with that $175,000 a month. That's pretty cool, pretty good, because even though it's not going to be, quote, sufficient to replicate Kevin's lifestyle, it will be sufficient to allow me to provide a lifestyle for the children, which is relatively comparable. So his income that she was considering in her request had a lot of Yellowstone income in it. And as we now know, Yellowstone is done, or he's done with Yellowstone. So while he was paid, I think, $11 million for season 4, and he was going to receive $10 million for season 5, he left the show. And by the way, the Writers Guild of America is on strike and has been on strike for months. And also SAG-AFTRA is on strike and has been on strike for a month and for months. And, nobody's had an audition. Nobody can work, because when the writers went on strike, the actors also couldn't work because no shows could be produced. And I'm an actor too, so I know this. And so the actors weren't working. The writers weren't working. There's picket lines everywhere. You don't want to cross them. No shows are in production, and this has been going on for months, and there's no end in sight. So his argument was that Yellowstone thing was a fluke. That was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. That income shouldn't really count going forward because that's past income. And we have to look at what I'm going to make in the future. I've sunk a lot of my money into this Horizon deal. I'm hoping I'm going to make it back, but, I don't know if I'm going to make it back. I took a back-end deal on it, so he's not going to get paid until after and if these films make money. And between you and me, that's a legit argument, right? So last we spoke, they were going into their depositions, as I recall. I think the last update we did on this was right around the 20th, maybe, of August. And they did their depositions on a Saturday, and they went in for their depositions, and we looked at some pictures of them going in for depositions. And I have a playlist of all the Costner videos if you want to go back and take a look at it. And for those of you who don't know what a deposition is when both parties go into a conference room with their attorneys and a court reporter, and the other side's attorney questions. So Christine's attorney would question Kevin for hours about everything and anything. And then the same would be done by Kevin's lawyers to Christine. Depositions in this kind of case could last hours. They could last days. There's really nothing in a deposition setting that is objectionable, or that a lawyer can really direct their client not to answer, unless it's something that could incriminate them criminally. All objections during depositions are reserved for the time of trial, which means that, you can object during a deposition, and whatever the answer is, the question and answer may never be allowed at trial, but it's allowed to be asked at a deposition because it's a method of discovery. And you're entitled to discovery during a divorce action, during a civil action. You're entitled to discovery. You're entitled to have depositions, and they're both parties, and they both had to be examined under oath. You testify under oath. After the depositions are done, it comes back to you, if you're the person who gave the deposition, in a book form, question, answer. You can go through, you can make modifications, you can read it, sign it. That is your sworn testimony. I don't know. Somebody said, what's happening with the stream? I don't know. Did something happen? I'm here. Okay. So depositions were done. Yes, it can be admissible whether you decline or answer. Yes, it can be, but it can also be not admissible. Okay. Thank you, Hudson. So during depositions, Kevin was asked how much money he spent on his girlfriend. And he said, I don't have a girlfriend. I haven't had any affairs. I haven't had any affairs, but I don't know if she had any affairs. So that's when this whole stuff about Josh Connor started to come out. This may have been during the deposition. It may have been during the paper discovery, because also, in addition to depositions, they ask a lot of things on paper to try and get a lot of answers ahead of time so that they don't have to waste a lot of time in depositions. So that's when this stuff started to kind of like rumble. There had also been some stuff about some guy that lived in their guest house. We showed that in the first video, that footage. Daniel Starr lived in their guest house. He was paying $65,000 a month for a 1-year tenancy. Something happened between Kevin, maybe, and Daniel Starr, and Kevin asked him to leave early. There had been rumblings that perhaps he was spending a little too much time with Christine. I don't really know. I'm not here to speculate. I'm just telling you what the tea was at the time. A lot of accusations of stonewalling. She accused Kevin of stonewalling by not producing documents regarding his finances. Then she's asking for the $175,000 a month. Then she also asks for another $575,000 in attorney's fees and another $280,000 for her forensic accountant and other experts. And this was going to include the amount that it would cost for them to go to trial, because there was a trial date scheduled for November, end of November. Yikes. It is not uncommon for the court to order the moneyed spouse, who in this case was Kevin, to pay the legal fees of the other side. If you've ever had that happen to you, you might know. Oh, thank you, Black Rose, your $5 super chat. Congratulations on your 10K. Great job. Yes, I will add you as a moderator. I just cannot pay attention because I have the YouTube feed up on my phone, and I look at, while I'm doing it through StreamYard. So I will add you. Thank you so much for volunteering. I really appreciate that. And also for your super chat. Okay. So, I said this in an earlier stream too. She's like, Veruca Salt. I want it now. I want more. If you're old enough, you'll understand that that reference to Willy Wonka. The original Willy Wonka, Gene Wilder, who is my only Willy Wonka. Sorry to Johnny Depp. I just thought that was kind of a creepy version, but whatever. We digress again. There was a lot of squabbling about how much child support he should have to pay. And Kevin's asking for a lesser amount. She wants $175,000 a month. And eventually, she did move out of the house into a $40,000 a month rental, but she was not happy about it. Her attorneys also would not answer the written, we call them interrogatories here. I think they were asking them for requests for admission. So they were asking things like, please state whether you understood the premarital agreement when you signed it. And her attorneys wrote back, objection. We do not understand the meaning of the word understood. I mean, just like ridiculous nonsense that required another motion by Kevin to try and get them to answer these questions. So remember, every 6 minutes you're getting billed. Every 6 minutes you're getting billed. Legal fees are racking up and up and up and up. And I think by the end of this case that settled yesterday or today, they're like at $1.5 million in legal fees. And again, that's another thing I would say to my clients. You guys want to spend all your money on lawyers? Because this $1.5 million could have paid for They have 3 kids. I'm going to say it could have paid for all 3 of them to go to college. And I know how much college costs right now because I'm looking into it. There's colleges out there that are 80 grand a year. When I went to college, I think when I went to CU, go Buffs, I think my tuition, even as an out-of-state student, was $8,000 a year. When I went to law school, my tuition at University of Denver law was $11,000 a year. They're getting way out of line with college tuition. I don't know what is going on out there, but it's insanity. It's insanity. Remember that? Who's that woman that used to say, "Stop the insanity"? We need to stop the insanity. What's her name? Anybody know? Now I'm really dating myself. Susan Powder, I think her name was. So they would not answer these simple questions. And it was, according to the attorney, his attorney, Christine's refusal to admit or deny the truth of the specific factual representations she made and that her attorney made in the PMA on grounds of privilege is particularly specious. Yeah, she said a lot of, she couldn't respond to things because of attorney-client privilege. Like, it was nonsensical, really. I have the documents, I read them. And my head was spinning by the end of it. I'm like, this is the most circular, ridiculous argument ever. This is basic stuff. Did you understand the PMA when you signed it? Yes or no? She didn't want to say yes because, that would lock her in. And then if she challenges the PMA, she's going to have to pay his attorney's fees. I mean, we see what's going on here, right? It's not rocket science. So there was another motion about that. And then he wanted her to pay his attorney's fees for having to make that motion because of their playing games. And I think he was asking for something like $14,000 in attorney's fees. And she's asking for the upward modification and the child support. And then they do their depositions. And during the depositions, Kevin offered something like $60,000 a month. So then they have a hearing on September 1st. And September 1st, they both go into the courthouse for this hearing. And there's 2 days of testimony. 2 days of testimony. And she gets up on the stand and she's crying. And I'm sure it was very heartfelt and very sad. And look, it's always sad when a marriage ends, and it's sad for everyone. It's sad for the kids. It's sad for everybody. So she breaks down in tears, describing their lavish lifestyle. And she testifies that she can't possibly live on this amount of money, that this $40,000 a month home that she's going to move into is, although it's luxurious, it doesn't provide a comparable lifestyle for her children, because there's a guest house, but if the people are staying in the guest house, they're going to have to go into the main house to shower. Not acceptable. I think she also said that they have 2 boys and a girl, that her boys would be forced to share a bathroom. Doesn't have the ocean views that Kevin's house has, and she should really be entitled to a much better place to live. This was very near to where Kevin lives in Montecito. Her rental was in Montecito, was going to be in Montecito, but she wanted a place that was something like $150,000 a month, hence her need for more money. I don't know. It makes me think that some people are tone deaf as to really what's going on out there. How many people aren't working and how much other people have. And the judge must have just been cringing in his seat, not even able to fathom the lifestyle that that they had and that she thought she should still be entitled to. She said, we used to have Christmas parties where we would truck 40 tons of snow into our other plot that we own, or that he owned, down the beach from where we live with the kids. And we would truck in 40 tons of snow to a 10-acre plot that we own just to have a Christmas party. And that they would hire all the animals from the stable in Bethlehem for the children to ride, as well as a forest of fir trees, and would have toboggan runs built. And we would pitch tents for our son's birthday parties and have 40 tents for our kids' birthday parties and hire the taco trucks to come. And I need to still have this money because I still need to be able to provide this for the kids. And she burst into tears when she was asked about the Aspen property that they have, which is admittedly very gorgeous. And then she was asked about the boyfriend. She was asked about the $20,000 that Josh Connor gave her. And she was asked whether she was romantically involved with Connor, and she emphatically said no. She said $10,000 was given to her money and $10,000 was given to her because her mother was worried about her house. Then she tearfully admitted that Kevin had been paying Christine's mother $5,000 a month for years, but that the payments stopped when they separated. And then she said she returned $10,000 of the money to Josh Connor because she didn't need it right now. So when she was cross-examined on the stand by Kevin's attorneys, they pointed out things like, doesn't your new house have a pool? Well, yes. Well, doesn't your new house have a hot tub? All of these things that were similar. And, she was still crying and saying that it was, it was nice, but it just wasn't apparently nice enough. Let me go to the chat for a second, see what you guys are thinking about this. Yes, Black Rose, he loves, where is this not shot? He loves his kids. I can't see him letting them suffer, period. He seems so fair, her choice. Yeah. And, listen, she's the one who filed for divorce, right? And there was a lot of squawking about Kevin wants to kick his kids out of the house, and this is the only house they've ever known. And he wasn't kicking his kids out of the house. He was asking her to leave the house pursuant to the premarital agreement. That's all it was. Lori Callahan, celebrities don't live in the real world. Poor baby. Yeah. Yes, Galen. California divorce court judges have seen and heard some nutty stuff from these entitled people. Yeah, and listen, they don't make this kind of money. They just don't, judges. A lot of judges make less than most lawyers. So I don't know what judges are making in Santa Barbara, but I'm going to say if it's 200,000, that's a very generous number. It may be far less than that. I don't know. I don't have any info on that. Georgina Smith. I love this level of delusion. It'll make a great Hallmark movie. I know. Scott. Yes, the judge ordinarily would interview the children if there was custody in play. Custody was not in play here. They had agreed on 50-50 custody. So they did not have to interview the children. And the children, thankfully, did not have to testify. Just let them live in the house till the kids grow up. Well, they are going to live there because Kevin's going to live there. So they are going to go back and forth, which, she's living around the corner, basically. So, I hate to see the moneyed spouse being raked over the coals when they've worked so hard for all of that money. I'm not saying that he should not get have to pay child support. What I'm saying is, an a starting ask of $248,000 a month is like insanity to me. Insanity, Aaron. Wow, a lot of people survive on beans and cornbread. Pretty much where I am now, feeding my family. Yeah, groceries are freaking expensive. Has anybody else noticed the price of everything has quadrupled? I mean, at least eggs are back down, but eggs were at one point, they were like $11 a dozen. It's insane. Milk is like $6 a gallon. I mean, it's really insane. Like, there are some people who don't look at prices in the grocery store, but I always look at prices for everything because, that's how I was raised. You comparison shop. My father used to have that Consumer Reports. He used to read like 10 issues of it before he would even buy like a coffee maker. The cost of living right now is insane. It's insane. The price of gas is insane. It's almost $5 a gallon again here. So, yeah, it's like, it's tone deaf. And when you try and make these arguments in front of a judge like this, they're not going to be taken that seriously. And you're going to see that is exactly what happened here. So there's 2 days of testimony. I'm just trying to get to, they're talking again about Yellowstone. He's going to get $11 million. He said, no, Yellowstone is done. I may have to sue them to get my money because I had some back end points and they haven't paid me. And so, no, that money is done. And that became a big part of the argument about what financial information should be considered with regard to the child support. And in my opinion, she's kind of living in a different world. And it was kind of a crazy, crazy ask. She said that during Cross, he listed all of the sports the children are involved in. That's actually her attorney during direct. And when she was asking them to increase the child support. So her attorney, John Rydell, says he listed all the sports that the children were involved in and the houses that the family owns. And she claimed that the reasons for her asking for more money were about so much more than material things. It's an experience, she said in court, according to People magazine, before describing the family home as a community. We create whatever we can dream up in here. Whatever we can dream up. So while she had been countering with $179,000, now her attorney says, okay, you know what? We're going to reduce that amount. We're just going to ask for $161,000 based on our forensic accountant, who is very highly paid, current numbers. And she said she needs, more money so that they can maintain this level commensurate with Kevin's considerable wealth, even if that level of support also improves the standard of living of Christine. Because again, they fly on private planes, they fly in the snow, yada, yada, yada. First person who can tell me what TV show that comes from gets a shout out in the comments, yada, yada, yada. I'll be watching. So by the end of the hearing, no big surprise there. On September 1st, the judge cut Kevin's obligation in half, and he was then required to pay $63,000 a month, again, in child support. To Christine, that money is tax-free. So it comes back to better want what you wish for. Remember that old TV show where they would show you, like, I think it was Let's Make a Deal, maybe? And they would say, like, do you want what's behind the door, or do you want what's in the box? Or do you want what's behind the curtain? And you never really know what you're going to get. She just went from having $129,000 a month and not being happy about that, and asking for an upward modification of $179,000 and then saying, all right, I'll take $161,000, to getting it cut in half where he was only going to pay $63,000 a month. So basically your advice would be not to get married or divorced in Cal. Yeah. Or have a prenup. Have a prenup. California, in a lot of ways, is so beautiful. I love California. I would move there in a second if I could. I spend a lot of time in the South Bay because that's where my sister lives, and I love it there. And I was going there every summer until this summer when I didn't, because there was a strike and all kinds of other things. But it can be the Wild West in the courts. It really can. It's a whole different standard of living out there, and so you never know what's going to happen in a custody case, or in a custody battle, or in a divorce case. And you don't want to risk it. It's like, kind of like, would you go into a casino and throw $100,000 down on a roulette table and spin the wheel, knowing that you could walk out with nothing? Yeah, right. How about not filing for divorce? Yeah. Deborah, that's right. Yada, yada, yada is from Seinfeld. I don't know if you were the first person to say that. Nope, we got DB in there, C-Val. Teresa, Annie, everybody knows. Right on, Josephine. Sandra. Tim says, Google, what is a job? I know. I know. And that's the thing. It's like just because you're unemployed does not make you unemployable. Unemployable. And if you have maybe a boyfriend who's a billionaire, chances are you're probably not going to have to worry. Oh, it's very sad. It's very sad for the 98%, the 2%, isn't it? I don't know. So her lawyers keep squawking. They're not happy. They're going to go back to court again, and they want more money, more money, more money. And then so September 1st is when the child support is cut in half to $63,000. Their upward modification motion is denied. By September 6th, there was another hearing in which Kevin was awarded $14,000 in attorney's fees because of Christine's failure to reply to those written discovery demands that we talked about earlier. The judge said they acted in bad faith. She had to pay this $14,000 by 9/22 and also provide the answers. She also cross-moved for $9,000 in attorney fees. It was denied. She also refused to tell his attorneys whether or not she was going to be contesting the prenup. So now they're supposed to have a trial on the validity of the prenup. And if she lost that, she was going to have to pay his attorney's fees for that and also have to give him back the $1.5 million that he already gave her. I don't know. Again, I say this a lot, like, am I living in the Twilight Zone? After that hearing, there was a really nice sound clip. I don't have it pulled up because I didn't want to play any media today. I just wanted to chat with you guys where he came out of court and they did talk to him after the 2 days of testimony. And he just really seemed like really sad. And it was really sad. Let me just see. Actually, I can pull this up. It's only audio, so I'm hoping that it's going to play properly. Let's see. It wants to play. I don't know. So I think, am I freezing up? Something's happening with my Ethernet. And I am plugged into the Ethernet, guys, so I don't know what's going on here. All right. We're just going to forget that because it's screwing up my stream. And I think I probably have too many tabs open because my kids always yell at me for that. Is it like, I feel like it's freezing up. Is that better? Okay. So based on my advice and based on the way that the judge seemed to be leaning with his prior rulings in enforcing the move out clause, even though she got more time to stay before she had to leave, and in cutting the child support. And it seemed like the judge was going to enforce that prenup. She eventually came out and said they had offered her a settlement. She rejected it. It was insulting, the whole thing. And it just broke this morning that they settled the case. So I guess they listened to me. We don't know what exactly the settlement terms are, and that's probably a good thing. But it is said, and it is also my opinion, that when neither side walks away from a settlement feeling like they were the winner, that's usually a good settlement. Because both sides should feel like they didn't win. But the case is over. The case is settled. We can assume that he wound up giving more than the $63,000 a month. We can assume that he gave her some sort of lump sum that made her happy. We can assume that for the most part, the prenup was enforced. And for the sake of settlement, we can assume that he gave up more money than he legally had to, had this been a more protracted battle. I don't know if I'm freezing up. I don't know what's going on here. This is really ridiculous. Thank you, Fios. Thanks, Fios. How old is she? She's 49. She's 49. I'm gonna close some of these tabs and see if it makes a difference. I need a tech person. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I am freezing up. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the Fios, but I seem to be okay now. Let's close some of these tabs. I think it's because of the storm here in Denmark. Yeah, that could be true. Could be because of the storm in Denmark. Could be there's storms here because we've been having a lot of weather here all the time. And it could be just because Fios is charging me too much money for not the greatest service, even though I pay for the highest speed internet possible and I'm hooked into the Ethernet. Hudson, it was the tabs. Hudson, will you come and be my tech guy? Closing them. So for everyone's sake, it has been settled. Yay, Kevin Costner. Thank you for starting my YouTube channel for me. And thank you for helping me get to the high note of 10,000 subscribers. I love you guys. Let's go to the chat. What is she supposed to be contributing to her lifestyle? Well, according to her, she should have the same exact kind of lifestyle that she had when she was married to him. But listen, people get mad when the gravy train comes to a screeching halt. They do. They get mad. And remember, she's the one who filed for divorce. And I don't know. I feel like he did the right thing. I feel like in the end, she saw the writing on the wall. And the writing on the wall was, not only are you going to be responsible for attorney's fees, this is going to drag out. You're going to spend another $1 million in attorney's fees for trial. And stop the insanity. Stop the insanity. What is in the best interest of your children is to stop the insanity now. Let everybody get on with their life, get yourselves out of the tabloids and go and try and move on. Yes, truth seeker. Maybe it was a win-win, a better outcome than both parties feeling like they lost. Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's what lawyers say, is that nobody should walk away, or nobody does walk away feeling like they're a true winner, like they really got over on the other person. Each person gives something, and it's a negotiation. Everything is a negotiation. And it's probably, that's when the settlement is the most fair, when both parties feel like they're giving up something, and it's always in the best interest to settle. It just is. Just settle. Make your own decisions. Don't let a judge make your decisions for you. I mean, who knows what would have happened if this thing went to the judge in the end? She could have had to pay back all that money, and that would be the end of it. Simdal. Depp and Kevin will save mankind. I don't know. I had a lot of comments from men actually on some of my COSTNER videos, like, there's no reason to ever get married, and this is exactly why men don't want to get married, or moneyed people don't want to get married. And It's a different time now. People used to get married just for like health insurance reasons because you could put your spouse on your health insurance and people needed health insurance. It's not like that anymore. You can put your domestic partner on your health insurance nowadays. So, it's great to get married if you want to have kids. I tell my kids, don't get married until you're at least 30 because you really don't even know who you are until you're probably at least 40. So, getting married in your 20s for me was very, very young. A lot of people disagreed with me and said that they've been married for 50 years and they got married in their 20s. And I applaud you. It's hard work. It's very hard work. So I don't want to generalize, but marriage is hard. It's hard work. You got to work at it every single day. Teresa says Santa Barbara used to be affordable. People used to send their kids to SBU and buy them a house. It was that affordable. Wow. It's beautiful there. So beautiful. Money is the root of all evil. And the more money you have, the more money you need and the more money you spend. And the more like out of whack your lifestyle becomes. In my opinion. Coslow, if this was me, Kevin, I wouldn't be concerned about any money, just my kids. Why do we have to be so greedy? Yeah, he is concerned about his kids. I think he's going to have them half the time. And in the end, he did the right thing. I feel like he probably felt, and if you've gone through a divorce, if it's not your idea, he felt betrayed. He felt like she had been planning this for a long time. He felt like she made a lot of moves that were kind of sleazy, going out and buying a car, like planning all this stuff, spending $95,000 on his credit cards. Yeah, it often feels like, and that was just for the attorney's fees. It often feels like the Twilight Zone nowadays. Yeah. I think according to their expenses, her Amex bill was like $250,000 a year. Listen, it's great if you can get it. It's a great gig if you can get it. But if that's what you want to walk away from and you have a prenup that says, here's what's going to happen if we get divorced, you can't then file for a divorce and then say, I don't want to abide by that prenup. You had an attorney when you signed it. The four corners of the contract is what governs here. Bella, people need to seriously put the well-being of their children first. They are the ones that suffer in the end. He's obviously heartbroken over losing his wife. Yeah. Yeah. So, Scott, I bet Kevin clicked his heels as soon as he got out of court. Well, look, it was going his way. And I think that her attorney is fine. And who knows if it was her or her attorneys that wanted to keep fighting this. Sometimes you have a client that's unreasonable and uncontrollable. And no matter what advice you give them, they're going to think that they know best. And they're going to want to fight for every dime they think they're entitled to. And sometimes people will spend, $50,000 fighting over a vase that is worth $500 just because they want to piss the other person off. I mean, that's how petty these things come. Anybody ever watched, War of the Roses? I mean, that's one of like the earliest divorce movies that I can remember where people, it gets insane, the things that people fight over. Black Rose. Kevin Costner, her loss. I think he wanted to be married forever. So happy they didn't give her all their money to the attorneys. Yeah. But I think in the end, the fees were like $1.5 million, which could have been put to better use, in my humble opinion. Caroline says, marriage, like any good relationship, is a committed, difficult at times job. Yeah, you have to make the choice that you want to work at it every single day. It's not always rainbows, sunshine, and unicorns. This is true. Who's referring to the Frankie case? So I don't know. I don't want to think about Ruby Frankie today. Let's not talk about Ruby Frankie today. How about that? Can we make that? I am working on that Richard Allen case. A lot of you have written me and asked me to cover that. There's 136 pages of documents indicating that the Delphi murders may be related to some sort of satanic ritual killing. I got to dive into that, but today was not the day for that. Maybe tomorrow will be the day for that. It's 136 pages and I need to digest. Yeah, I did hear about Russell Brand. That is another story. Yes. Yeah, Maureen, I don't know how I feel about covering that. I feel like a lot of people are already covering it. I don't know if I could really add to that. There's been suspicion, rumor about Russell Brand for many, many, many years. That's my sister. I know. I always have too many tabs open too. Always, because I think maybe I'm going to go back to it. Maybe I'm going to need that later. And then I just started cutting all the links and just putting them into a document so that I can get back to them. But yeah, I mean, who knew that all of these links, and I think all of these links also had media in them that were probably playing in the background. So hopefully we're good now. Right on, Josephine. Oh, I like that emoji. All the love, joy, and memories are turned into a pile of sorrow in divorce. It's hard. Yeah. Yes, it is hard. Oh, thank you, New England Coast, for the $10 super chat. You earned it, Melanie. We love you. Thank you so much. You guys, I wouldn't be here without people listening to me. Jersey Girl, thank you for the super chat. Yogi Bear, hey, congratulations on 10K. Thank you, Jersey Girl, 51. And Maureen, thank you so much for the super sticker. Oops. There we go. Thanks, Maureen. All right, Team Brittany with a question. If some parts of the PMA are followed, for example, the move out clause or anything else before settlement, wouldn't that strengthen the PMA? Yes. And I think that's what happened. I think, finally by the end, her attorneys were like, listen, the way this judge is ruling, honey, we better start thinking about a settlement or you're going to be walking out of here with next to nothing. Next thing you know, it's going to get cut in half. And also the thing about California is that child support ends at age 18 for the children. So each child is going to age out at age 18. In New York, it's not that way. In New York, it's 21 or end of college or emancipation, whichever comes first. So while New York has a cap on income, and California has no cap, California child support stops at age 18. So one of their son just turned 16, so he'll age out at 18, and then the child support payments will decrease over time as each child ages out. I think it's probably in the settlement that Kevin's going to pay 100% of college and 100% of, housing and however much other things until the kids are a certain age. So I'm sure that was all worked in there. And hopefully she feels like it was fair in the end. I did see another article, which I can't pull up for you because I closed all my tabs per your advice. But she did say that begrudgingly, she thinks she may have to go back to work. She may go back to work. She may get back into the workforce. She may have to go back to school or learn a trade, or maybe she'll just meet a billionaire. I'm not sure, but hopefully everybody's happy in their house. How old are the kids again? 16, 14, 13? 16, 14, 13. Yeah, he'd do that for the kids anyway. I think so too. Listen, it's my opinion, and I think he's a good guy, and I knew that he was going to do the right thing in the end. But it's just like when somebody's putting your back up against the wall like that and you feel there's a lot of bad feelings, but one of the worst feelings is when you feel like you're being taken advantage of, like when you feel like you're being taken advantage of, like you're the good guy, you're trying to do the right thing. And then you're just getting screwed. It's like, gimme, bring me, buy me, take me, give me more, give me more, give me more, more. What did she do before they were married? She was a handbag designer, and he financed like two of her failed businesses. He said, I think she did some time as a model. I'm not really sure. Yeah. What are you talking about? The Russell brand? Yeah, I'm not covering it. Yeah, I'm not looking into that. I'm looking into the Karen Reed case. That really interests me. The Karen Reed case. Do you guys know about that one? It's a woman who's accused of running over and killing her boyfriend, who I think I'm not that into it yet, so you can correct me in the facts. But they're saying that she killed her boyfriend, who was a police officer, by backing into him with her car in the snow. He was found dead in the snow after she had dropped him off at a house where there was a party, like an after party of some kind, and she went home. And then she says they're trying to frame her for this murder. It's in Massachusetts. It's really interesting. It's going to be coming up for trial in March, and there's some allegations that they are not turning over any discovery to the defense. So it's kind of interesting. I'm thinking about, I'm thinking about covering that. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'm here for you guys. So what you guys want to watch is what I'll cover. I feel like Russell Brand, I don't know. I just have a bad taste in my mouth about that whole thing. With her obvious business savvy, why would she sign a prenup with no spousal support? She wanted him to put a ring on it. Oh, in fact, I think it was my first or second live. I played a clip of Joan Rivers on the red carpet when they were at the Golden Globes, like right before their wedding. And she's like, oh, let me see your ring. Let me see your ring. And so Christine puts out her ring and she goes, oh my God, you're a fool. She's like, I can barely even see that thing. You should be embarrassed. And Kevin was like, I know. So right after that, he went out and bought her like a 5-carat diamond, I guess because he was publicly shamed by Joan Rivers on the red carpet. But it's a great clip. Go back and watch that show and you'll see it. Yes, cover the Karen. Yeah, Karen Reed. Russell Brand has been accused of, I think at least 4 women have come out and said that he raped them. The Richard Allen stuff seems to be a clever ploy playing into the white supremacist scare, not much substance. I don't know. I'd like to read it. I mean, I want to read it. It's 136 pages. I mean, I can get through it. And I'll analyze it for you. I'm happy to do that. I just find it interesting because of the whole human sacrifice element, that weirdness I find kind of interesting. I don't really know, what was found at the scene. There's a lot of allegations of stuff that was found at the scene that may indicate it was some sort of ritualistic killing. BW, I found you first, Rockstar Melanie, which introduced me to the awesome Duty Ron and Ed. Love your show so much. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So people are finding me and then going over to them. Oh, I like that a lot. I thought everybody knew them first and then came to me. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I love Joan Rivers too, Aunt BB. Yep, Run the World. How you feeling, Run the World? I miss her. She was fantastic. If you're watching me, I guess you're feeling okay because when I had that thing, I couldn't even look at my phone. I couldn't even look at my TV. I could barely get off the couch. I could really hardly walk to the door. I mean, for like a good 48 hours. Even Hudson misses Joan Rivers. I know. It's hard to watch the red carpet anymore. Oh, thanks, Maureen. Just because I don't have memberships up yet. Oh, you are so sweet. With the £9.99, £9 and 9. I don't know, £9, right? It's pounds. You can also buy me a matcha latte if you like. We have that set up as well. And everyone who's done that, you should have received a thank you note from me because I always make a little thank you note and it comes to your email. So thank you. Know that your thank you is on the way. If you did not receive one and you did buy me a matcha latte, which is what I like. So it's like buy me a coffee, which is like the first time I saw it on somebody's page, I was like, what is buy me a coffee? Am I really buying them a coffee? Like, I don't even understand what this is. It has nothing to do with coffee. It's basically just a way to show your support. And it's a platform that was created by other content creators. So I guess they take less of a vig than YouTube. So we have that set up. So it's kind of cool. Thank you, Christy A, for the $4.99 super sticker. I appreciate you so much. I think you're one of the OGs too, right? That girl RWB, thank you for your super chat. $9.99. Thank you. Would love your thoughts on Delphi, please, and thanks. Thank you. Yes, I find that interesting. I also, we're going to have what's coming up? I have a whole list of things that I was going to talk about. I did that Kevin Porter Jr. story, and if you haven't watched that story, that live that I did the other day, he's the NBA player that allegedly choked his girlfriend so hard in a New York City hotel that he allegedly maybe broke her neck, and then they let him out on bail the next day, and now they're trying to get the DA to drop the charges because they're saying he didn't really break her neck. So, no big whoop. It's a horrifying story. Horrifying story for anyone who's been a victim or survivor of DV. It's a horrifying story for anyone who lives in New York to see what the courts think about DV. And it's a horrifying story for anybody who's a sports fan, because apparently if you have an $86 million contract and you want to choke out your girlfriend in a hotel room, which, by the way, she ran out of that room bloody, beaten, and complaining of neck pain. So there were witnesses to this. It's not like it happened in their house, and it was just a he said, she said kind of issue. You can pay $75,000 in cash and get out of jail the next day with a little "come back and see us again real soon on October 16th" card. So, yeah, Hudson, I know you're with me on this. Thank you. Yeah, New York politics in action. That is true. That is true. Thoughts through Long Island. Yes, I have been covering very, very closely the Long Island serial killer case, because when the first body parts washed up on our beaches in Fire Island in 1994, I think it was. 90, no, it was 97, and that was Jane Doe number 7, who has recently been identified as Karen Vergata. I had 2 little kids, and we were afraid to take the kids to the beach. And it's been a lot of years since those first legs washed up, and since then we've had torsos and heads and the 4 Gilgo bodies that were found on Gilgo Beach in 2010. And it's been 13 years, and finally, Rex Heuermann has been arrested. I have been to his court appearances. I will be at his next court appearance, which is coming up, I think, on September 28th. And I also was at the court appearance for Jimmy Burke, the former Suffolk County chief of police, who was the chief of police in 2012, and who also was the chief of detectives in 2010, when the Gilgo 4 were found, and did not let the FBI into the investigation because he did not want the FBI looking into him. So there's a lot to that story. And, oh, I see breaking on another. Bijou Phillips is going to divorce Danny Masterson. Okay, well, I think we could all have seen that coming, right? So there you go. There's the breaking news for you about Bijou Phillips. Danny Masterson was another case that I was like, do I want to cover that? Like, I don't know. I feel like I really need to like be passionate about it to want to cover it, because I don't want to do it a half-assed job on it. So it's better for you, I think, if I'm really interested. Like, I'm not just gonna, some people just go out there and do whatever's trending today. Like, whatever's trending, we're gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna do that. So we're here for the chit chat now. Now this is the chit chat portion of the program. Hi, Angela. Melanie, you're not alone. He had me on all of his movies. That picture was so sexy. That man has got it going on. I'm sure you have tons of women lined up in the streets to be the next gal. Okay, another quote from that show we were talking about before is, you know how long I've been waiting out this marriage? Remember that Seinfeld episode with Elaine and Jerry when that couple was breaking up, and Elaine wanted to date the husband and Jerry wanted to date the wife, and they were both waiting out that marriage. And I think Deborah Messing was the wife of that couple. A lot of famous people were on Seinfeld in their very early days, just like a lot of very famous actors are on Law and Order. And when you're watching like old episodes of Law and Order, you'll see like crazy people that are crazy famous now. It's like everyone in New York who's an actor got their start. Rainbow cake, yummy. I know, I love rainbow cake. Yeah, I know, Wendy. It's so sad and crazy the amount of cases to choose from. And yeah, once I start covering it, like I want to cover it all the way through. Dater. Did you watch Kohberger camera in courtroom hearing? What do you think about their arguments? You know, I'm a little torn about cameras in courtrooms. I think that there could be a way for them to put a camera in the Kohberger courtroom that was hidden and in the back, where it wouldn't be able to zoom in. But I do think we should be able to hear the proceedings in some way, at least. Was it Lori Vallow that was audio only? I know the West trial was audio only, and you had to listen to it live while the court was in session. That was in Kern County, California, and they had a live audio feed for that trial. We're still waiting for the sentencing on Trezell and Jacqueline West, which seems like it's never going to happen, even though they were convicted. And I thought that was a good compromise, because there were not cameras showing video. So that was a good compromise. I mean, there's the Kohberger thing. You know, if they had one camera in the back and it couldn't zoom. The problem is, look, the media keeps breaking the rules. The judge had rules, all right? Don't zoom in on him. Don't zoom in on his, whatever. And they didn't abide by it. So if they're going to show that they can't follow the rules, it's going to be a problem. But I think we all want to see it and we all want to hear it and we all want to know what evidence they have. Yeah, I need to know what's up with the DNA evidence too. And I have a 12-minute clip about that. The 3 unknown male DNA samples that were never tested that I'm really fired up about. I did a whole show on that, but that was just like a 12-minute clip that I pulled out. And I don't know what's going on with that. But that's why this Karen Reed case is so interesting, because they're not turning over any discovery. And that's just really weird. After Lori Vallow trial, not cameras, but it was recorded for a fee. What do you mean? I think it was on delay, right? They would show it at the end of the day or something, like it wasn't live. Alec Murdaugh. Yep, been covering that. Didn't he plead guilty today to all those financial crimes? I want to see what happens. So I did a video on this too. Go back and watch this about whether or not he's going to get a retrial. And I think he is. I think that court clerk did some things that were inappropriate in and of themselves, that based on the court record, the judge knew that she pulled that egg lady juror number 785 aside and spoke to her in private. And that is way outside the scope of her authority. And that alone, and the fact that the judge said it on the record, I'm a little upset that the clerk took the juror in and discussed this with her in private, interrogated her in private. That in and of itself, in my opinion, could warrant a new trial. So a trial in Buffalo about the hate crime. I will look into that. I'll look into it. Yeah, Tim, he made a plea deal. Are you talking about Murdaugh? Yeah, I mean, look, he's already, but I do think that he will be granted a retrial. I really do. I think there's going to be a hearing, and I think stuff's going to come out. And look, even if some of the jurors say, I didn't see Becky Hill talking to any of the other jurors, they were separated into 2 different jury rooms, and there's going to be some questions of fact there. And I thought we were done with Alec Murdaugh, but I don't know how that's going to go. I think he's going to get a new trial. If he does get a new trial, are you guys going to watch it? Put a Y in the chat if you're willing to watch it. Again, like a train wreck that you just can't turn away from. If you can make me laugh in the comments, you win. Hudson, if it'll stop me from hearing Alec Murdaugh's voice, I will confess to the murders. Oh, here's the thing. If they do retry him, there's no way he's going to testify. No way. There's no way he will testify. And if he doesn't testify, the financial crimes probably won't come in. It's going to be a very different trial. See the Menendez case, which is another case that I want to cover. Because during their second trials, none of the SA abuse evidence was allowed in, and they were both convicted. During the first trial, that was all allowed in. There was a mistrial because they couldn't agree, the jury, and Eric and Lyle Menendez have been sitting in jail for 30 years. And since then, there's another boy, I think he's a member of that boy band, Menudo, who came out and said that the Menendez father essayed him as well. So it gives their testimony about that a little more credibility. And I think in the 80s, when that case was tried, I think people were not willing to believe that a father could do that to his sons. And I think would be a very, very different case today. Marianne doesn't care about the Kevin Costner divorce. Okay, but you're still here. You're still here an hour and a half later. Tell me what you want to talk about. What do you want to talk about, Marianne? Here, Laura, you would have got his wife as much as if you were Kevin's wife's lawyer. Of course. I would advocate for my client 100%, but I would also tell my client what the law is. And, if she wanted to pay me $1 million instead of maybe keeping the $1 million for herself, that's her choice. I'm not a greedy bastard. I'm not obsessed at all. I'm here to tell my my viewers about the case and explain it to them. So if you have some other content that you would like to hear about, I'm certainly open to suggestions, as everyone here knows. But there were some crazy comments that I was going to read to you, but I had to close all my tabs, so I can't even do that. Yeah, Hudson, you're coming in here with all the deets. Menendez brothers need to be freed. I totally agree. Dater, is Menendez reopened? I saw news about it. I do. Yesterday I was all buried in the Frankie Hildebrandt case, so I do not know. But I do know that Mark Garagos is on it. He's trying to get them either out or a new trial. Maureen's from the true crime community, all in. Watch both trials. Think we are similar age. We may be. I'm 29, so if you're 29, we are totally in the same age. All right, so Alex came clean and said he lied about the housekeeper's info. Well, yeah, that was pretty easily proven. The guy wants federal white collar prison. Yeah. Yep. Club Fed, they call it. Club Fed. Pawpaw, I can't hear his voice. I know. Pawpaw and Mags. I know. And look, I'm not saying that I don't think he's guilty, because I think he's guilty as hell. Like I said, I'm a constitutionalist. I think that if this actually happened, and I did not read her book, but if you read Becky Hill's book, and people have, other law tubers have read it, and even other law tubers that I disagree with on many things, I think we're all in agreement that if Becky Hill did what she's alleged of doing, that this guy is coming back for another trial. Yeah, thanks, Wendy. I actually like hearing about the Kevin Costner divorce. Not a care in the world about Murdoch. I know. It's kind of like a train wreck. It's like we just can't turn away. We can't turn away from it. Hot pink jalapenos. Love your shows, Melanie Little. I was only here today for Kevin. I don't have many movie stars I'm a fan of. I know. I love true crime, but I'm out of here. Hope my sandals. I didn't see any sandals comments. But I'll go back. I always go back and look at the comments later. So, listen, it takes a lot to really bother me. It really does. Like, I tell the haters to come for me in the comments. Somebody wrote in the Kevin Porter show. And like, if they write me something really nasty, I pin it to the top of the page because I want to clap back at it. And yeah, okay, Donna, I will. But I have to do it on my phone. So let me get in there. He said something like, "Oh, another white person criminalizing a black man. Not interested." I said, okay, first of all, you don't know me or my channel, dude. All of my content is about white people doing horrible things to other white people. Okay, this is not a racial thing. This is a DV thing. And this is a rights for victims thing. And this is a story about New York bail reform. Okay, this is not a black story. This is a story that affects everybody, all social classes, all colors, all races, all religions. And a couple of my subs came and defended me. Thank you very much, Sarah. You know who you are, and a bunch of other people. And he ran away with his tail between his legs. So, come for me in the comments. I welcome it. I got a lot of heat. Well, not a lot. It's like I get a million really nice comments, and you guys have been so nice with your comments today on the 10,000 sub post, and thank you so much. You're so sweet. But I had at least 3 people unfollow me because of my respect for pronouns, and I found that so disturbing. Like, they wrote really nasty messages to me. Like, if you're gonna respect people's pronouns, I'm out of here. I'm like, okay, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Like, I've had people say to me, I made a comment when we were covering Harmony Montgomery, who was that poor little girl who was chopped up and put in a duffel bag by her drug addicted father, who got custody of her. It was a horrible, horrible story out of New Hampshire. And I said something on my show and on another show that, maybe the government, instead of, hiring however many IRS agents, because I got I got clapped out a lot for the number that I said. And they're like, they're not all IRS agents. Some of them are staff. Some of them are blah, blah, blah. is that maybe instead of hiring all these IRS people that they want to hire, maybe they could hire a whole bunch of like the same amount of number of people to work for the foster care system and CPS and to protect children. Maybe we should prioritize. And some woman wrote, if you are a Trumper, I am leaving. So I can't win. Either I'm a Trumper because I say we should protect children instead of, hiring IRS agents, or I'm a racist because I report a story on Kevin Porter, or I'm a bleeding heart liberal because I want to respect people by using their pronouns. Like, what am I? I don't know, a chameleon, I guess. But get out. Like I say, I am not a cupcake. That's what my sign says. It says, you cannot make everybody happy. You are not a cupcake. I am not a cupcake. I'm not going to make everybody happy. If you don't like my content, change the channel. Bye-bye. Go. You don't like me respecting people's pronouns? Why can't we just respect everybody? Why does that have to be a political thing? Why can't we protect the children? Why can't we say that DV is bad? And that piece of paper that you're handing him after he hands you the 75 grand in cash, the piece of paper that says that he's not allowed to go within 100 feet of his girlfriend is worthless. We can't say that because it's racist. Or I'm a Trumper, or I'm a bleeding heart liberal. Like, how about we respect everybody? How about that? How about we just respect everyone? Is that possible? Yeah, let him go. Thank you, Kay. Thank you. And, I don't even know where it's coming from. Is it coming from older people, younger people? I don't know. And I don't really care. If Jesse Hildebrand wants to be known as they, them, and they came out and gave a 3-hour interview to Mormon Stories podcast, which was amazing, about Jody Hildebrand, who happens to be their aunt. That took some serious guts to do that. I'm not going to respect their pronouns. Come on, give me a break. What is with that? Thank you, Anne. Anne Bazzarelli. What you are is amazing. You're amazing too. Personally, I prefer stop trying to make everyone happy. You're not tequila. Does tequila make everybody happy? I don't know. Maybe white tequila. Too many margaritas gives me a headache. Yeah, don't let the door hit him. Thank you, Christine. Laura Christine, sorry. I don't want to misname you. People come after me for that. Don't let the door hit him. Amen, Beck girl. Amen. That's my speech of the day. Welcome to my TED Talk. Welcome to my TED Talk. Yep. Sunset gazing. Exactly. 100% I've been lambasted for saying protect the children. It's odd. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, also, if I'm covering that story, I'm also attacking the Mormon Church, and I'm declaring that the Mormon Church condones child abuse. I don't recall ever saying that, and then I'll get in the comments with it, and I'll say, can you give me a timestamp of when I said that? Because I never said that. I didn't say that. Yeah, baby. Harmony Montgomery case starts in November. Oh, is that going to be Adams? Is that when Adams' murder trial is starting? That'd be great for you to cover. Yes, definitely. I mean, Duty Ron and I have been on that. He's been on that a lot longer than I have because I've only been on YouTube for 10 minutes. But yeah, and I did cover that story with him a lot. And that, I have 5 kids, and those kid stories really get me. They really hit me hard, and I cover them. Lori Callahan, be kind and make good choices. Pog family. Yep. I said that to my kids, they're teenagers. Every time they go out, I'm like, make good choices. Make good choices. Yeah. I'm blonde. Nope. Thanks, Peter. Can't please all the people all the time. No, I am not a cupcake. I am not a cupcake. Happy Kevin Costner had me at No Way Out. Yeah, he's had a lot of good stuff. Field of Dreams. Miss Donna Marie, Queen of the Mods. Tequila makes your clothes fall off. Look at you getting in there with the racy comment. Now, I would never have expected that from you. I would never. Princess Smish getting in there. Another mod. Tacos equal happiness. Yep. That is it. Thank you, Nathan. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you want to email me, my email is in the main channel description. You just have to click that you're not a bot. You can email me. If I don't respond to you, it doesn't mean I didn't read your email. It just means I am getting like 1,000 emails a day. I do read them. So please don't, expect a prompt response or even any response, or I'll just write back, but it doesn't mean I don't see them. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. H Cook, blah, 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 cha, 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 kick him to the curb and let's stick together. Yeah, this is a nice place. This is an inclusive place. This is a place where we like to chat and we like to respect other opinions. I do look at other law tubers. I do sometimes. I don't, if I'm covering a case that they're covering, I don't like to watch their coverage on it because I don't want it to influence my opinions. My opinions are always my own, and my opinions are based on the court documents and my interpretation of the court documents. But sure, I pop in and listen. I think there's room for everybody. I don't think we're even in competition. If you watch other law tubers and you can tell me, look, we're all very different. And I think we all have, we come with different skill sets and with different experience, with different ages. Most of the other law tubers with, hundreds of thousands of subscribers could be my kids. Like they're a lot younger than I am. So I think there's room for everybody. I don't find it to be a competitive space. I think that, a collaboration between a couple of us on a panel could be really cool. CrimeCon, are you listening? Because I would only come if I was a speaker. But I don't see it as a competitive thing. I think that if people want to watch law tubers, they're going to watch who they resonate with. They may watch them all. I try not to schedule a live when I know that they are going live also, because I don't want to pull from their audience, just like I wouldn't want them pulling from mine. But, it's, I think there's enough space for everybody. And I think that it's great. Some people like to get on and read you the court documents and go through them. Some people like to sit and have the trials on all day and comment on them. And everyone's got a different style. And I welcome it. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, exactly. We can all share you all. Yeah. Oh, you're awesome, girl. People are seriously stupid. Can't wait for your marriage. And you find her. I know. Any more slogans? I am not a cupcake. T-shirt, hat. Come for me in the comments. We have a bunch. Working on it. Yep. I'm working on it. Would you ever be interested in going through Britney's nightmare court documents? It's really terrible what's happened to her. No, me too. Free Britney. Free Britney. I'm on team Britney too. I don't know what the latest is. She's going through a divorce now. You mean like the conservator documents? There's so much there. I don't even know what I have access to, what's public. I mean, a lot of the documents that I get, I have to pay for, which is fine. I don't mind paying for them. A lot of them are hard to get because you have to physically go to the courthouse. A lot of them are sealed. Sometimes you have to quickly download them before they seal them up, which is what happened with the Richard Allen stuff. That's 136 pages, and they took it. Then they, once they put a gag order on it or they put a protective order on it, it disappears. You can't find it. Oh, Scott, you're coming out with your soft side today. Brittany has some issues and someone needs to look out for her. That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, they've been exploiting her since she was a child, stealing her money. I don't know. No, you'll see it, Nathan. It's in the main channel description. It just says like for business inquiries or something. And there's like a white button and you just press on it and say, I am not a bot. You may have to do it from a laptop or a computer. It may not come up on your phone. Yeah, I have the 136 pages too. Got it. Got it. Thanks for reaching out to me today. That was a good get. All right, so we've been in here for almost 2 hours, and the first half was about Kevin Costner. Second half was a chat. Ask me anything. Now I want a cupcake. Oh, I have a rainbow cake to eat downstairs. That's my dinner. The rainbow cake with the 10K. So once again, guys, if you're here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss this party because we have a lot of fun here. And when you hit the subscribe button, it is free. So, nobody's asking you for money. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications so that you will get all notifications when I go live. Yes, it is now sealed. Yep. Yes, Maureen, it is Delphi. Yes, but I got the 136 pages. And it was legal when I did. I didn't do it in an illegal fashion. I got it before they sealed it. It was out. Now it's gone. When do you decorate cakes and cupcakes? Cake for dinner. Yep. No, cake for dinner. Cake is good all the time. Cake is good all the time. Breakfast, dinner. Here's the perfect food, in my opinion. Any vegans in the chat? I'm sorry. Close your ears for 1 second. Bacon is the perfect food. You can have it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It is the perfect food. It goes with everything. It's delicious. It's good. It fills you up. I'm just going to say it. Bacon and cupcakes. Peanut butter bacon cupcakes. There's an idea. They do make those kind of donuts, like maple bacon donuts at this place called Duck Donuts, which is like crazy good. And that is where we're wrapping. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. Thank you for sticking with me through the long, hard, almost 90 days that it took to get to 10,000. 10,000 people like me. And that's a really, really good feeling. Once again, I couldn't do it without my moderators who are sent to me from heaven. They work really hard. Some shows are easier than others. Thank you, Peter. Peter is one of him, and his lovely wife, Rochella, who are both in my chat all the time, as is Scott. Nice chatting, and you were all well behaved. He will put you in timeout. He will come into the comments, and he will delete them. And he'll say, I got him. I got him for you. Retired law enforcement, the best. I back the blue 100%. So that's another thing people come after me for. Like when I was covering the Jimmy Burke story, who's the dirty Suffolk County cop who impeded the Gilgo Beach investigation for however many years he was in office until he went to jail. I back the blue 100%. I do. But just like every profession, there are good and there are bad. Look, I sued the Catholic Church, which is my own religion, for the survivors of clergy sex abuse. So I like to be on the side of right. Just like do the right thing. That's all. Do the right thing. Again, thank you to Queen of the Moderators, Miss Donna Marie. Couldn't do without you. Brittany, thank you so much for joining us. To retired Irish detective, who I do not think is here today. Wendy Kraft, also a moderator. Yes, Scott, we've missed you. I don't know where you've been, but we did notice your absence. Princess Mish, who's also an amazing moderator. Team Brittany for joining. And also a new addition to the team today, Black Rose. Thank you for volunteering. Did I get everybody? I think I got everybody. If I didn't, I apologize. Thank you, each and every one of you who tune in to share some of your evening with me. Sometimes we really get going and it goes on for a long time. But I like to interact with you. I like to answer your questions. I like to know what you have to say. I like to know what you're thinking. I like you to tell me that I'm not in the twilight zone sometimes when I cover some of these cases. I feel like I'm just in the twilight zone. Thank you, Christy. Oops. Back the blue. Yes, Lori, 100%. Ice cream and cupcakes. Love. New follower, really enjoy you, fellow Long Islander here. Long Island strong. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through it all. We will. I promise you we will. That's a wrap for me tonight, guys. Thank you so much. I didn't think it was going to go so long tonight, but time flies when we're having fun, right? It's like a bunch of friends getting together, having a drink, having a cup of coffee, trying to solve the world's problems, trying to get everybody else to do the right thing, save the children. Don't beat up your significant other. And if you do, you should be penalized for it. If you go out there and abuse your children, we're going to come for you. We're going to call it out. I mean, not come for you. Like, we're not going to go after anybody physically, but we are going to call it out. We're going to talk about what it is. Yes, you can. Nathan, you can Instagram me. DM me on Instagram. That's fine. No problem. Thank you guys so much. I love you all. Thank you. 10K. We did it. You guys rock. I'll see you soon.